Welcome back, guys. My name is Brandon. I am the resident psychopath, and we are continuing where we left off at the header. I did want to add something, a couple of mouse over effects. I also wanted to link a phone number, even though I don't have one set up yet through CallRail. I do want to go ahead and link it just for the purposes of this video. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to go back into the Oxygen template for the header and let it load, and we're going to get started. First thing I'm going to do is play with the mouse over color for those social media buttons right here. Oop, my bad. There we go, right there. So we're going to go ahead and click on those, and you see now if you take one of these away, let's just cut. You see I took that away and it disappeared up here. So if you don't have one set up yet, this is just for template purposes. You just put that there, it'll link up and it'll show. So what you can do is you can scroll down to the icon hover color and we can change that. Now I already have a Delaware yellow set up that we created last time, but I want it to be a little different. So what we can do is when someone mouses over, now see, generally I like to keep things the colors of the template. I don't like to change them. Like I can do this, I can go ahead and make it completely different, and when you mouse over it, it turns into something like that, but that doesn't match the rest of the template. Now what I can do is give it just a plain white color, and when you mouse over, it's a subtle transition because you see the background is white. And we're going to have the background be white. It's just we're going to add elements onto it that are going to be these other colors. So everything looks nice and just kept together. So just it's that simple. Add an icon hover color, and you got that effect. And now if we click on this, let's see what we can do is we can just hover over that. We can just click on link there, and what we do to link a telephone number is TEL, just like that. And what we do is put the number, just 10 digits. There's no dashes in between them, nothing like that, and it looks exactly like this. Whatever number is there, that's what you put there, and you hit OK. So what you have is a linked number. Now, as you see, it's different on the color. It's because we used a regular link instead of a link wrapper. Now, what we can do is we can cut that, and we can just put a link wrapper. But I can actually make it stand out a little bit more by adding just adding some more text there, putting it there. Now see, I could just link the entire thing, the call us and the number, and it doesn't really matter. You can just do side by side divs and everything. It's whatever you want, really. So if we just let's see, add link wrapper, just drag this in there. Now if you go to structure, click on link wrapper, you'll see under primary, if I can get it to click, it's not clicking. Oh, it's already there. I'm stupid. Okay, so what you can do is just type in the number that I showed you before, the format that I showed you before, but your number. Now you can see that in the link wrapper, it became smaller. That's something you've got to play with. You got to change the font size for that because the link wrapper sort of shrunk it down. But that's something you can do right there. Like I said, you can just put the whole thing in there if you wanted to. Just add this. You cut that, delete the element. Just double click in here, and you could just paste that in there. All right, there was a space in between there. You just deleted it and it's gone. But you can see that there's still these are pretty close together. Now that I deleted that element, and you know, I got to reset that spacing. So I'm going to go ahead and put the padding back of 10 pixels, and we've got that little space. So we are good to go, and we hit refresh on that. Let's see what we got. Okay, it's a little big, but you can see this is clickable. If you look in the left-hand corner of the browser screen, you can see it highlights the telephone number. And on mobile phones, you click that, and it'll bring up the call number area on your phone and allow you to call. I'm going to go ahead and play with the text size, obviously, and get it reduced. But you can see also that these are now hover modified, and that'll be that. So I'm going to go ahead and make the change to the text size, and then we're going to go and we're going to start building a page. Be right back. Okay, we are back, and we're going ahead. First off, I went and changed the font size here, and I also did a center align because like I did in the other video, I like everything straightened out. So anyway, we're editing the page for the home page, and instead of sample page, I changed it to Delaware house buyers, and I changed the permalink. Even though the permalink is going to be the home page by default because that's what I set in the settings for WordPress, I still make that change on the actual page to match the keywords, just to be flush all around. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and scroll down here, and you see this is the content that's on the home page, all this junk right here. I'm going to just get rid of, I'm going to highlight all this stuff and just reduce it. I'm not going to delete it all because I want to show you something in an example. I'm going to keep a little bit of this here, but this isn't going to have any effect on the design unless I want it to. This won't show up. So that's why I want to give it an example. We're going to update that, and then we're going to go and edit with Oxygen. Anytime you update the page settings, you click on update before you go edit with Oxygen, so you don't lose any of the changes that you made. I believe it'll warn you anyway, but I mean, it won't let you move forward without doing that. So now you can see this is the area where the inner content goes. However, because you're not declaring it yet, it's not going to show up here. So what I'm going to do is give you an example. I'm going to first add, first thing I like to do is add the columns. And for this, I'm going to add 60 by 40. And you see this side is bigger than this side. This side is going to be a form. Now I know we don't have a menu yet. It's not a big deal. We'll put one up there. I like to put the menu in the header so it shows up on every page and it's the same throughout. And we're going to end up putting a footer as well. We just don't have one yet. So the form is going to go here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this div. I'm going to add. I'm going to go to WordPress, and I'm going to scroll down to widgets. And because I have Gravity Forms installed, there's a widget for forms. And so we can see what it's like when we add it. There we go. Get offer. Now you can put a title in there. You can display the form title and the form description that's actually in the form that you created. I'm not going to do any of that right now. I'm just going to go ahead and go to Advanced, Enable Ajax, and then click Apply. We're going to see it over here. That's the form that you created. Now you notice the background is not blue how I wanted it, but I can go ahead and change that. It's not a big deal. I can also change the font colors for these items as well. But I can do that in the style settings of the form that I showed you in another video. But while we're here, we're going to click on the div again. We're going to change the background color, and we're going to go back to the one that we preset, so we have an idea of what it's going to look like. This text is going to be yellow when we're done, but for now this is good. I'm going to hit save, just see what it looks like. Just go ahead and refresh this page, and you're going to see all that stuff is gone right here. This is here, and it's a little it's a little messed up right now, but we're going to fix all that stuff. And I don't like that it's not separated, but we're going to make some modifications there. But for right now, let's click on this div. We're going to add, and typically I like to go back to basics, add a heading, and then add some text underneath it. So you have a heading, you have text, and the heading, I think the menu should be like a yellow, big yellow strip with the blue modifiers over it, text. So that means that we're going to have another blue area right here because we want to offset these things. We don't want them all to be the same. So I'm going to change the background of this to the blue. I'm going to go back to typography, and I'm going to change the color of the font for the header to yellow. All right. So that's, I'm going to go ahead and align it to the center. And just to be flush across it all, I'm going to add the padding of 10. And I'm going to click apply all, and you see it goes to the top and the sides, the bottom. So that's set. I can also go ahead and go back to the typography, and just in case you got too much text, we can create a line height. You can see it reduces as well. And then we can, there's one thing I almost forgot, is you always set your width so you don't have any surprises. If you don't want things to show up side by side depending on the screen width, this will make sure that this is stacked on top of this instead of these things showing up right next to each other. So the same thing, we're going to click down here, we're going to change the font size, and we're going to change the width to 100%. Now I also like to put the padding on this. Trust me, it just makes everything look better. You see how it moved over a little bit. Now also, when it gets down here, it's not going to touch the content that gets there. It won't get too far over here. So that's what it looks like right there. Now what we can do is we're going to add, and this is just for an example, we go to WordPress, and we can actually include dynamic data content. And you see it's loading it up. Now see, this is your first post. Okay, we're using an example. What are we looking at here? All right, well this is, it's showing the content. Now it's not showing the content that's normally on that page for some reason. I believe we're just previewing a different page. But let's see what it looks like up front. Now see, this is the content that appears on the page that we're editing. So that's why I left it there to show you. Now what you can do is you can always set up your template, and then you can have it pull data from that standard WordPress field for that page. So if you want to go and just edit some content on that specific page in the future, you could put it in that area and just have it appear on the page. This is good if you want to have like all of your locality pages that are the same based on a template, except for obviously the city name changes. Now it's not technically duplicate text, and you see there's a lot of websites in the real estate industry that have locality pages that have the exact same content on various cities and states, and the only thing that changes literally is the name of the city throughout the page. Now that's not penalized by Google as duplicate content because it's not technically duplicate. The city name itself changes the content enough that it's not penalized. But if you also add unique content from that page, then that will help give you unique content for that page. It might help you get ranked for SEO a little bit better. So that's something to consider. For the purposes of this, I don't know if I'm going to keep that there. I guess for now we'll just go ahead and do that, but might as well keep it the same size. So we change the font size, we change the size and spacing. Let's hold on a second. Sorry about that. Let's go to size and spacing. Change the width 100%. We'll change the padding 10. Apply all, and you got the same sort of setup there. So that's good. There's one more thing I like to do with my body text is I like to have it. I like to make everything equal on the sides. You can align it however you want, but that's just how I do it. So I'm gonna do the same thing with this up here, and now all this text will be flush across the sides, as if I were writing a college paper. So that's pretty much all there is to that. This is going to be the end of this video. What I'm going to do when I come back, we're going to add a menu, and that's probably going to take up an entire video because we're going to change different aspects of that video: the background, the hover, the active menu items, and we're also going to set up the mobile menu in Oxygen. So that should take up a good amount of time right there alone. So anyway, get your practice on with this, and then we're going to start making it look pretty. See you guys later.